In the previous lesson, we learned how to assign resources to our project. In this lesson, we'll learn how to navigate, understand, and customize the activity usage spreadsheet, activity usage profile, the resource usage spreadsheet, and resource usage profiles. So let's look at them in order. Firstly, the activity usage spreadsheet. To open the activity usage spreadsheet, we click the icon on the top command bar and you will see that the bottom details window changes. The left-hand pane will display all of our activities as per our top table window. So, if we select an activity in the table window, the identical activity will be selected in the bottom window. Now the right-hand pane shows costs or units per period. Currently, our right-hand pane shows costs per period. If the amounts appear to be too congested, you can use your magnifying glass pointer for your mouse on the bottom row of the timescale to widen your columns. If you move your mouse pointer to the top line of the timescale, it will change to a pointed finger and you can drag your data left or right. You can also customize the data shown in the right-hand pane. Let's change our data from costs to units. So we right-click our mouse anywhere in the right-hand pane and select Spreadsheet Fields. The Fields window will open. We want to get rid of the cost data and replace it with unit data. Select all of the cost data and click the left-hand arrow. All of the data will move over to the left-hand pane. Let's close the Cost drop-down menu and open the Units menu. We'll only display the budgeted units, so highlight Budgeted Labor Units and move it over to the right. Click Apply, then OK to close this window. You'll now see that the bottom right-hand pane displays Budgeted Labor Units. If you look at the WBS element headings, you'll note that they display the subtotals for each WBS element. If you then scroll up to the very top of the table window, you will see that the grand totals will be displayed in the bottom window. If you wanted to, you could mix any of the spreadsheet fields together. In practice, I try not to overcomplicate things and prefer to use the activity usage spreadsheet for reference only. Now click on the activity usage profile icon and look at the bottom details window. You'll note that we are showing usage for all activities in the left-hand pane. The right-hand pane will therefore display a graph of costs per period and cumulative costs per period. You will see that the legend currently is displaying budgeted, actual and remaining labor. At this early stage of our project, we don't really need actual or remaining labor, so let's clean up our graph and get rid of them. To do this, we right-click our mouse anywhere in the right-hand pane and select Activity Usage Profile Options. A window will open with lots of options. Under the Data tab, we can select Cost or Units. We won't be displaying actual and earned value, so ignore the third option for now. The filter for bars and curves gives us the option of including non-labor, labor and expenses, as well as the total. The pull-down menus on the right allow us to distinguish between the bars by changing their fill. If we select the pull-down for labor and select a different fill, then click Apply, you will note that the fill of the bars changes. Return to the solid fill and click Apply. Now, we must remember that we can only apply all of our options if we have selected costs on the left. If we select units, we can only display labor or non-labor units, but not both. Moving on to Show Bars, Curves, you will again see a number of options. Currently, you will note for budgeted actual and remaining costs, we have selected 3 columns: by date, cumulative, and color. Deselect the switches for actual and remaining early, then click Apply. Lastly, the Graph tab enables us to change the look of our graph, such as vertical or horizontal lines, horizontal line color, and background color. Click OK to close the activity usage profile options. Now let's select excavation and formwork in our table window. Let's change the selection in our bottom left-hand pane to show usage for selected activities. You will now notice that only costs for excavation and formwork will be displayed. If we select a number of different activities by holding our Control key, we will now display costs for all of the selected activities. Let's look at the last option in the left-hand pane, time period. If we check this option, we will be able to look at the cost of all activities for a selected time period. So let's select January 2019. In the table window, you will see that activities for excavation and formwork and pour slab are displayed. Similarly, only these activities will be displayed in the bar chart window. These activities will be in progress in January 2019. Now let's hold down our Control key and select January, February and March 2019. Only the activities that are in progress in the selected months will be displayed. One last tip: if you quickly left double-click your mouse in any of the months of the right-hand pane, a little window will pop up for that month that shows the budgeted and cumulative costs for that month. Now let's move on to our next option. Click the icon for the resource usage spreadsheet. The bottom details window is split into left and right-hand panes. The left-hand pane is also split into two sections, resources and assignments. In the bottom table, let's make sure that we are only displaying the current project resources. If this is not the case, select the Display pull-down and select Filter by Current Project Resources. Now, in the bottom left-hand corner of the Details window, make sure that neither of the display activities for selected boxes is checked. In the left-hand pane, select Painter. In the right-hand column, you will see that only the activities where the painter has been assigned will be displayed. Select Designer and notice that only activity A1020 is shown. In the right-hand pane, the corresponding cost or units per time period will be displayed. Note that you can also select multiple resources by holding down the Control key while clicking. Now let's try the next option by selecting the box to display activities for selected resources. Let's select the resource Rough Carpenter in the left-hand pane. Immediately, activities will be filtered to only display activities where this resource has been assigned. The right-hand column will show activities 1050 and 1080, and their allocations per time period will be displayed in the right-hand pane. Similarly, in the table window, only the relevant activities will be displayed, and this will also be the case in the bar chart. Once again, multiple resources can be selected in the left pane. Now in the bottom left of the detail window, check Display Activities for selected assignments. Then select Finish Carpenter, and the right-hand column will display all of the activities where the Finish Carpenter has been assigned. Now, in the right-hand column, select several activities using Control-click of your mouse, and all of the corresponding activities will be displayed in the table and bar windows. Again, it should be noted that the left and right-hand panels can be customized to suit your requirements. Now we'll move on to the resource usage profile. So click the icon in the top command bar and a different bottom detail window will be displayed. In the bottom window, make sure that the current project resources are displayed. The resource usage profile provides a graphical view of unit or cost distributions over time. It is a very useful visual tool. It displays the amount of effort needed from each resource or role on the project during each time period. We can use the profile to determine how many hours each resource is scheduled to work and identify over-allocated resources. So let's look at the different areas. When you first look at the left-hand pane of the bottom window, you will most likely see that options on the bottom left are grayed out. Why? If you look at the top of the right-hand pane, it will most likely be displaying Display Open Projects Only. Click to obtain the pull-down menu and make sure that the Show All Projects is unchecked. You will then note that the display options in the left-hand pane are now visible. So let's quickly make a couple of adjustments to our graph display in the right-hand window. In the graph area, right-click your mouse and select Resource Usage Profile Options. The window that opens will be very similar to the one open for our activity profile usage. We've already discussed formatting of the graphical area, but let's select an additional option. Make sure that the graph's display is going to be in units, then select the Units radio button. Leave the options for Show Bars, Curves. You will note additional data options become available. Make sure that the Show Limit and Show Over Allocation are checked. Click Apply, then close the window. Now let's click on the Project Controls resource in the left-hand pane. In the right-hand pane, you will see the allocations of this resource over time. You will also note a graphical representation of the limit that this resource can work before it becomes over-allocated. If we look at September and October, we will see that this resource is fully allocated. If we select Painter, we will note that he is in fact under-resourced. Click on the Construction Labourer and note minor over-resourcing in June. Double-click quickly on the graph in June and a little window will pop up that tells us that the construction labourer has been over-allocated by 8 units. Click to close this window. That's one way of inspecting our resources. In the bottom left of the left-hand pane, check the option for Display Activities for selected time period. Then select the Project Controls resource. Now, in the right-hand pane, select September 2019 and look at the table window. No activities are shown. So why is this? That's because the Project Controls resource isn't assigned to any activities that fall in September 2019. Now select the Finish Carpenter instead, and note that her activities are now displayed in the table window. Now this time, select the Ironworker, then in the right-hand pane, select January 2019. If you look at the table view, you will see that the Ironworker is assigned to the Pour Slab activity during January. Control-click with your mouse and select February as well, and you will see the 2 activities that he is assigned to in January and February. Select the Project Controls resource again, but this time select September, October and November 2018 using Control-click on your mouse. You will see the activities displayed in the table and bar chart windows. We can look at our last option for the Resource Usage Profile. In the bottom of the left-hand pane, check the option to display activities for selected resource. Let's highlight the excavator resource, and you will see that he has been assigned to the activities that are displayed in the table and bar chart windows. In the bottom right-hand pane, you will see the time-based distribution of this resource. You can try different combinations for yourself. So in this lesson, we learned how to navigate, understand and customize the Activity Usage Spreadsheet, Activity Usage Profile, Resource Usage Spreadsheet, and the Resource Usage Profile. In the next lesson, we'll learn how to create activity codes in P6. In the previous lesson, we learnt about activity and resource usage and assignments. In this lesson, we will discuss how to create activity codes in P6. What are activity codes? Activity codes provide a means to view, group, and summarize activities within the schedule. You can use them to organize your layouts by grouping and filtering. Activity codes can be assigned to each activity within a schedule, allowing you to view your schedule in many different ways. But first, we need to create our activity codes for our schedule. Before we start, let's just close all projects by clicking File, Close All. Select Enterprise Activity Codes to open the Activity Codes pop-up window. For our first activity code, we're going to break our project down into 6 stages of construction so that we can group them by stage. In the Activity Codes window, we can create activity codes at a global level, EPS level, or project level. Now, if no projects were open, the only options for use would be the global or EPS levels. You will see that the project option is grayed out. So, close the window and click on the project's icon in the left-hand command bar. We want to create activity codes for a specific project, so we must first open up Project EC001, Office Building Edition. Highlight Project EC001, then right-click your mouse and select Open Project. Now select Enterprise Activity Codes and you will notice that the Projects option is now available in the pop-up window. To make things clearer, you will see the required activity codes on the screen. You can also download the file that I have provided. Select the Project option at the top of the pop-up window. You will see that the window is currently blank, so we will need to create our first activity code by clicking Modify on the top right of the window. The Activity Code Definitions window will open for the project. Click the Add button and rename the new activity code to Stage. Then click Close and you will now see our first activity code displayed for our project, EC001 Stage. Now we will be able to enter activity code values and their descriptions. Click the Add button and enter our first code value of STG1, Preliminaries. We could even color code the value if we wished, but just leave it for now. Let's add our second stage. Click Add and enter STG2 with a description of structural and concrete. Now the third stage, STG3 Roofing. Then the fourth stage, Insulation and Cladding. The fifth stage, Flooring and Carpentry. And finally, the sixth stage, Painting and Finishing. Now, if we were to group and sort our project by stage, we would have 6 groups, and we would be able to view all of the activities in each group. This is a very useful tool because it enables us to view schedule groupings and data in different ways. For instance, if we had added costs and resources to our project, we would be able to view the subtotals for each stage. We'll move on to the second group of activity codes and name them Campaign. Make sure the Project Radio button is selected, then click the Modify button to open the Activity Code Definitions window. Click Add and add Campaign as the new activity code. Now, we'll be adding a third activity code, so let's do that now. Click Add again and enter Trade as our third activity code. Close the window to get back to the Activity Codes screen. If you click the Activity Codes pull-down menu, you will note that all 3 activity codes are visible for our project. Select Campaign, then click Add to create our first code. Give it a code value of MS, then tab over to the description window, call it Milestones. Click Add again. You can also use the Insert key if you wish. Name this one Admin Administrative. Then again add Precon, Preconstruction, then add Const, Construction, then add COMPL, Completions, and finally COL, Closeout. Now let's add data for the third activity code. So we select Trade from the drop-down menu. If you have accidentally closed the Activity Codes window, select Enterprise Activity Codes to open it again. Click and add PROJ Project as the first activity code. Then add STR Structural, then add CONC Concreting, then INS Insulation and Cladding. Move on to FL Flooring, then Roof, Roofing, then CAR, Carpentry, PNT, painting, and finally FIN finishing. Now, a tip worth noting: if you click the header code value, it will sort your activity codes in ascending order in that column. Similarly, if you select the descriptions heading, the codes will be sorted in ascending order by that name. You can also indent or change the order of the activities using the arrows on the right. To recap, in this lesson you learned how to open the activity codes window, create new activity codes, create code values for each activity code. In the next lesson, we will assign activity codes to our project. In the previous lesson, we learned how to create activity codes and their code values. In this lesson, we will learn how to assign these activity code values to our activities and look at examples of sorting and grouping. Make sure that your project EC001 Office Building Edition is open. Then select the Activities view. Let's work through a simple scenario. We want to assign activity codes to selected activities to help us sort and group the activities. So we highlight Contract Award and move to the bottom window and select the Codes tab. Note, if the Codes tab is not visible, right-click the lower menu bar and select Customize Activity Details. Then move codes from the left-hand window to the right side. With the Codes tab selected, select Assign, and the Assign Activity Codes window will pop up. This window may open with the global radio button selected, so make sure that you select Project. You will note that all of the activity codes for the project are displayed. To make things clearer, you will see the required activity codes, activity assignments on the screen. You can also download the file. At this point, we want the activity code that represents Stage 1. Contract Award will fall under Stage 1 Preliminaries, so we select this activity code. Select the next activity, Design Phase, and again assign the code for Preliminaries to it. Now move down to Site Preparation. Site Preparation falls under Stage 2, Structural and Concrete. So we select this activity code. Select the next activity, Excavation and Formwork, and again assign the activity code for Structural and Concrete to it. Next, do the same for Pour Slab. Then erect Structural Frame, then Floor Decking. Finally, assign this activity code to Concrete first and second floors. Next, we will select the activity for Insulation and Built-up Roofing and assign the activity code Roofing to it. Then for activity code STG4 Insulation and Cladding, we will assign it to Drywall in Offices and Install Ceiling Grid. For activities A1100 Install Door and Window Frames, A1110 Install Exterior Doors and Windows, 1170 Fabricate and Deliver Flooring, 1180 Install Floor and Carpeting, 1200 Finish Carpentry and Millwork, we will assign the code for STG5 Flooring and Carpeting. Note that you can hold down your Control key to select multiple activities that have the same activity code value and then assign that code value to them. Now let's go back to activities. A1140 Assemble and Submit Flooring Samples. A1150 Review and Approve Flooring, and A1160 Prepare, Review and Award Flooring Contract. We'll assign the activity code for STG1 Preliminaries to them. For the final step, we will assign the activity code for Painting and Finishing to activities A1130 Touch Up and Clean Up, A1210 Paint Building Interior, and A1010 Building Addition Complete. Now we'll go through the whole process again to add code values to the campaign activity code. For our first activity, A100, we'll click Assign in the bottom window. Make sure that you have selected the codes, click and assign MS milestones. Then assign milestones to A1010. For A1020, assign Administrative. For A1030, assign Pre-construction. Then assign Construction to A1040, Excavation and Formwork, A1050, Pour Slab, A1060, Erect Structural Frame, A1070, Floor Decking, A1080, Concrete First and Second Floors, A1090, Insulation and Built-Up Roofing, A1100, Install Door and Window Frames, A1110, Install Exterior Doors and Windows. Next, we will assign completions to A1120, Drywall and Offices, A1170, Fabricate and Deliver Flooring, A1180, Install Floor and Carpeting, A1190, Install Ceiling Grid, A1200, Finish Carpentry and Millwork, A1210, Paint Building Interior. When we look at activities A1140, Assemble and Submit Flooring Samples, A1150, Review and Approve Flooring, and A1160, Prepare, Review and Award Flooring, we'll assign administration to them. Lastly, we will assign Closeout to activity 1130, Touch Up and Clean Up. So now we have assigned our first two activity code groups. We will now assign the codes for our third activity code, Trade. To save time, I will add the codes quickly from the values shown on the screen. The different trades will be Project, Structural, Concreting, Insulation and Cladding, Flooring, Roofing, Carpentry, Painting, Finishing. We have now assigned all of our activity codes, so let's inspect individual activities and confirm which activity code values have been assigned to them. First, we highlight activity A1030, Site Preparation. Then make sure that the Codes tab is selected in the bottom window and look at the different codes that have been assigned to this activity. You will see that there are three different activity codes that have been assigned for Stage, Campaign, and Trade. Each activity code has a unique code value. These codes will tie in with our table values. Let's move right down to activity 1210, Paint Building Interior. Again, for each of the assigned activity codes, they will be matched with a unique code value. So in this lesson, we've learned how to understand the difference between activity codes and code values, assign different activity codes to different project activities. In the next lesson, we will look at different ways of grouping, sorting, and filtering our activities.